Mythology has been an inspiration in gaming forever. Entire worlds are built on it in games like God of War, Smite, and even recent Assassin's Creed titles. But most of the time, you'll see heavy representation in just three mythologies: Greek, Norse, and Egyptian. Other mythologies that pop up from time to time include Chinese, Japanese, and even Christian mythology. Now, calm down. I know it's a bit of a sour spot since Christianity is still an active religion, but honestly, it would be a lot more disrespectful if I just ignored that and pretended it doesn't show up in games. You know what I mean, so let's just keep it pushing. As more and more niche mythologies are exposed in media, like Aztec, Inuit, African American, Native American, Haitian, Polynesian, and many others, African mythology still feels like it's stuck on the sidelines. So today we are going to look at the tiny, whiny, incy-wincy bit of African mythology that actually has been explored in games. And trust me, it's tiny. Welcome to the Echo Chamber, the channel where we talk about nerd news and pop culture in Zambia and around the world. As you may or may have not heard, the Chinyaminyami, or just Nyaminyami as the internet has decided to call it, has recently been featured in Shin Megami Tensei V, Vengeance. This is the official star of today's show, and the first creature we'll look at because it comes from my own home country, Zambia. The Chinyaminyami. The Chinyaminyami is the mighty river god of the Zambezi River. Depending on who you ask, it's said to be either about 3 meters wide or as wide as the Zambezi itself. Its body is so long that when it crosses a section of river, it can take from sunrise to sunset, an entire workday just for it to pass by. It's usually described as a giant snake with a head of a catfish, complete with whiskers. And hearing this, you might think of the Chinese dragon, just without the antlers. The Tonga people are the main followers of this river god, and some members of the tribe still offer cattle sacrifices to ask for good rainfall and appease the god when angered. Its name comes from how it cares for its people in times of famine. The story goes that the Chinyaminyami would expose parts of its own body for its followers to eat when there was no other food around. Nyami nyami translates to eat because of how it sacrifices its flesh for its people. Chi in this case means big, but it could also work as an identity prefix, the same way that we use the. So Chinyaminyami literally translates to the big eat, though naturally just eat. A little history. When the Kariba Dam was first being built, construction was a nightmare. Equipment would stop working, tools would just go missing, and at one point the dam actually collapsed, killing 89 people. Locals believed Nyami was unhappy since the dam restricted its movements and separated him from his wife, another river deity called Kitapo. Depending on the version, she is described as either a serpent herself or a mermaid. After the collapse, sacrifices were made to appease the god, and before construction restarted, another offering was given to ask permission. Only then was the dam finally completed as planned. The Chinyaminyami remains Zambia's most recognizable mythological creature. There are certainly others, but much of them have been lost through erasure over time because we only had oral traditions. That's why it's so cool to see our country finally having some recognition in modern media. The Grootslang. The Grootslang is a creature from South African mythology described as having the body of a massive serpent and the head of an elephant. And it's huge. Its name in Afrikaans literally translates to the Great Snake. According to the legend, Grootslangs are a whole species created at the dawn of time. But because they were so aggressive and territorial, the gods decided to split them apart into two new creatures: elephants and snakes. Each one inherited part of the Grootslang's traits. Elephants kept its intelligence and aggression, while the snakes carried on its cunning. Still, not all of them were destroyed. Some Grootslangs survived, and according to the myth, they live deep underground in caves and hidden channels where they hoard diamonds, gemstones, and other treasures. The Grootslang even makes an appearance in the video game The Strange Brigade, along with other creatures from African mythology. The Mokele-Mbembe. The Mokele-Mbembe is a creature from Congolese mythology, and it's literally a dinosaur. Okay, so At least it's not another snake. Still, giant reptile territory, but hey, we are diversifying. If you've heard of the Loch Ness Monster, it's pretty much the same idea. The legend says a dinosaur somehow survived the extinction event that wiped out the others back in the Jurassic period. The exact type of dinosaur, though, is debated. Many say it's a ceropod, something like a bronchosaurus or apatosaurus. Much bigger than an elephant, but smaller than the real thing, with a long neck and a relatively small head and a plain tail. Others have described it as having a more aggressive appearance, with bony plates and spines along its back and tail, making it look like a stegosaurus. Some even claim it's a paleosaur, just like Nessie, a mostly aquatic creature that keeps most of its body underwater. Regardless, unlike the other creatures on the list, the Mokele-Mbembe is considered a cryptid, meaning some people genuinely believe it exists, like Bigfoot. Explorers have spent decades trying to find it. But the only evidence we have is eyewitness accounts, local stories, and of course the classic blurry photos. The Mokele-Mbembe does pop up in games, and it is a hidden dinosaur in Carnivores, Dinosaur Hunter. Now, with that out of the way, I want to address something. In all the games I've mentioned, African mythology honestly feels like an afterthought. I had to dig pretty deep to just find the examples that I have given you today. And though I had come across several, I chose to highlight the myths in Southern and Central Africa specifically because here's the thing. Even though West, East, and North Africa are also underrepresented, they still have a lot more recognition, especially in West Africa with gods like Anansi, who's way more famous than any of the creatures that I've mentioned today combined. On the other hand, myths from Southern and Central Africa barely get any attention, whether it's in games or just media in general. Now, this isn't a competition, but I do believe that there is huge potential here. I'd love to see the stories and legends from these regions represented better, because they are every bit as rich and exciting as Greek, Norse, or Egyptian mythology. Oh, and before I forget, there is going to be a Chainsaw Man screening in October. More details will be shared soon. And that said, if you know any Central or Southern African myths that you'd love to see in some games, please let us know in the comments below. This has been the Echo Chamber, signing out.